good afternoon, lovely viewers. Those ones who are watching us on S Class and those ones who are watching us from Universal Healthcare page. This show we are going to talk about gender-based violence or sexual gender-based violence that happens mostly in universities and also in schools and also other communities in Uganda. So on the set with me, I have three beautiful women who work for Universal Healthcare. So first of all, one of them is going to tell us. They are going to introduce themselves. Then later on, we are going to jump into or dive into the questions and answers. They are going to tell us their experiences and how best can we end gender-based violence in universities and how best can we engage government and other stakeholders in Uganda. So I'm going to start from my right hand side because they're all my right hand side, but I'm going to start from here, then we shall proceed the other side. Get to know them better, get to know their names. So if you want to ask anything, you can go on our Facebook page. You can go in the drop in the comment box and ask whatever you want to ask, or tell us anything that you think about this discussion, because this sexual gender-based violence happens still in homes and also in schools, in universities. We have very many people who have had issues, but they have not been taken to book or taken down, mostly the perpetrators. So she's going to introduce herself and tell us more or what she does in Universal Healthcare. So welcome to S Class and also Universal Healthcare. So tell us about yourself and what you do with Universal Healthcare.
Thank you, Sam, and good afternoon to everyone watching us tonight. My name is Rebecca Karagwa, and I'm an activist, and I serve the Universal Care for Africa Foundation on the board as a vice chair, and I'm glad to be here to be contributing to this discussion, especially in a timely now being we are in the 16 days of activism. Yeah, so there could not have been a better time to be talking about this. Thank you, and yeah.
Thank you so much. And then still on my right hand side.
I'm the Patience Flavia. I'm a student at the university, and I'm very glad to be part of this today. And I work with Universal Care for Africa as the country coordinator, Uganda. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Thank you everyone for watching. I'm Arikiriza Michelle, and I'm a team member of Universal Care.
So, thank you so much. But before you even go further, first of all, tell us what Universal Care do for people in Uganda.
Thank you once again. The Universal Care for Africa Foundation is an organization based in several countries in Africa, and right here is part of the Ugandan team. We are also in other countries like Kenya, Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Nigeria, Tanzania, and other countries. So, and basically what we do is to improve the health lifestyle of communities, and our focus is on one individual at a time. So we want to improve health because we have a human rights approach to health, and want to ensure that because health entails so many aspects, not just a doctor and medicine and tablets, so many things that are within the meaning of the word health is our focus, and that is what we do to the various communities in the various countries where we operate.
Thank you so much for the brief intro about Universal Healthcare in Africa. So like I want you to tell us about sexual gender-based violence and also gender-based violence.
Thank you. So sexual and gender-based violence can be defined as any actions that are unwanted, and these actions are aimed at they can be physical, they can be emotional, they can be anything that another person does without consent of the other, and in that way we can say you're violating someone by doing anything in a way that you communicate to them sexually, yeah, you make advances, unwanted advances, and these things could be as simple as a touch, or I am passing, and our community, someone wants to hiss at you, and actually society has normalized it to a point that if a girl passes somewhere and then no one is saying something, they feel that it's something wrong. That's the extent to which our communities have normalized sexual and gender-based violence. So briefly, that's what I can say.
That's what you can say. Like, if we start from the other side, you have heard about sexual gender-based violence, and is it what is happening in university and also communities, like at home?
Yeah, thank you very much. Gender-based violence is happening so much in our communities, especially at universities, although people ignore the fact that it happens. For example, I may be a university student, and maybe I will have missing marks, but my lecturer is a male. So when I go to rectify my marks, he'll make advances to me. But if I don't give in to those advances, then maybe my marks will not be rectified. That's it's sexual violence towards me, the female.
Yeah.
In society, it's very common because you could be my boyfriend, yes. Then you make advances to me, but I don't want. And maybe it could reach a point and I'm raped, but then I will not speak up because I know that people will tell me that you took yourself there or you guys are dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's it.
I want you to bring us when it comes to maybe homes and also other areas where most of the girls stay. We have seen very many cases where parents themselves, like fathers, want to rape their own daughters, because they say that very many girls have been raped, and nobody is reporting, and girls don't even sometimes go to police. Why is it that some girls, when they are raped, they don't go to police or go to report in any way?
Well, because in our communities, by the way, it's relaxed, because sometimes you'll find a parent who has raped, but money. Somebody will go to report and they will not be heard because they bribe. The man will come, even if they are reported, the man will come and bribe and bail himself out of police. And so others will not get the urge. They're like, either way, even if I reported, nothing will be done about it. And others do not even know what to do. There are those societies whereby people are illiterate. They don't know what to do. And you're like, where can I even start from? You don't know the right place to go to. You don't know maybe the human rights places where you can access such people. And either way, in another format, and some people are very, like, they get that low esteem. If maybe you've been raped by your parent, you feel so down to talk about it. Like, you're like, oh no, it's my parent, and I cannot do this. Oh, you even feel ashamed. You're like, oh my God, if I say this, what will people think? So that is why some people feel so they don't come out to talk about it.
Does it? Yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to add to what she was saying. The reason that actually what she said, why it is the way it is, sexual and gender-based violence is about power. So we need to look at power structures in the society. The reason that someone is going to pay the police is because of power. And power here is about resources. Power is about, the traditions. We are taught to be respectful. And so while someone is trying to contemplate and say, but this is my father, it is because you are taught to respect your father. And so in that position, your father is powerful. No one wants to have we're not having honest conversations about, if this is my father, why is he doing this to me? But we are looking at the victim or the affected person or the survivor, let me say, and we're trying to tell them that, it's actually gaslighting. You gaslight them into, this is your father. So power, we need to address the aspect of power, even in the university. The reason the professor or the lecturer or the tutor is going to say, before you can rectify this, I need the sex, is because of power. So we need to address the power imbalances in the society, in the universities, in communities, for us to be able to deal with this sexual and gender-based violence.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't want us to think about universities and communities only, because the thing is also happening at places of work. It's happening. So I want us to open it, like, to be wide, not focusing on one area. So whoever is watching us, just know you're watching us from S-Class and also on Universal Healthcare Facebook page. Like, what you need to do, just go in the comment box, tell us whatever you want us to talk about. You can ask a question, whoever you want to ask the question to, and also don't forget also to share, comment, and also invite other people on these pages. Like you say that very many people very many cases go unreported, and very many perpetrators go and they're not into the books of law. Like, we have had cases where people report, like you said, and police does not do anything. Like perpetrator go and pay off the police, and police closes the case. And then what are you guys, like other civil society organization and also other people, like because everyone is a stakeholder in this. If they rape someone today, is someone's daughter, today tomorrow maybe your daughter. What are you guys doing when it comes to all this?
Thank you. This is, it is true that we are very many stakeholders in this, but I find that it's a bigger role of government to to play, because if we're going to have a functioning, it is of course functioning, but the extent that we want it to, the judiciary, we need to have a system that I know that if I report, it's going to be, my case is going to be listened to, it's going to be heard, and they can, I'll get the justice that I'm seeking. But you find that, for example, if I report a case today, it's going to take so many like years for it to be heard, and then for justice to, a lot happens within that time. That is why you find that halfway the case, someone says we have settled this matter, and actually these are criminal, aspects, but then you find that societies want to just settle their matters out of court because of the time it takes. So I would want the judiciary to, like look into this and find a way while we can address the issue of backlog, so that cases are heard within the time and justice is served in time, other than the many months of delay. But also, secondly, people don't have money to go to do the legal process, and not everyone is going to be, not many people have the information, for example, about pro bono services. So it takes, we need to also sensitize communities now, other stakeholders aside the government and the judiciary. People need to be told that you can actually seek like legal remedies anytime such things happen. And so I think that sensitization, but also a lot needs to be done in the judiciary, so that for me justice should be served really within the time that people expect it.
Okay, thank you so much, Rebecca. Then when it comes to you, Flavia, like you said, people don't feel like if you go report your, could be your father, could be your brother who is doing all this to you, because very many cases have been happening. And if people report and justice is not served, like people don't get the service they deserve, and we have had very many cases where even people reach to an extent of having psychological torture. So I want you to take us through, when it comes to psychological torture, what really happens to the victim if somebody is not mentally well and is not mentally served, if the person is not served? What does the victim or happen to her or him? Because we don't need to say men are not raped or not violated when it comes to that. Then what really happens to a human being if they're not mentally well in all these processes? What do they need to do? Like if you find a person who has been raped, let me say girl, what are some of the things that you can tell the girl or this girl to go through or do in that she does not go through the psychological torture too much of and feel like she's not loved?
Okay, thank you so much. Well, when somebody has passed through such a thing, first of all, it's so traumatizing. Anybody, something that you're not ready for, and they're forcing you for such a thing, it's really very bad. It's a bad experience. What I would do, or the very first thing to do, if it hasn't just happened, I feel like we need to talk to such people privately, because in the first place they are scared to talk about it because they are traumatized. So you talk to them, you put them in a private place, and you try to talk to them. You don't force them because it's a hard time they're going through, but you can first ask them to calm down and relax, and then you ask them to tell you about the whole experience, why it happened and how it happened, and not to force because somebody is passing through a very hard time. So you talk to them and you help them out, because like you tell them on where to go. Some people are not certain, like I said earlier. So you can help such a person by actually listening to their story. You can go with them to the police, to seek justice, like, or if they are really not okay yet, you can take them um, to rehab, because if they are psychologically tortured, it can affect them for their entire life, and it can make them to do unethical decisions. Somebody can be like, okay, if this has happened to me, I must make sure that I make somebody else go through the same. So you can take them to rehab so that they can help them recover
Yeah.
from it. Yes, please.
Yep.
Continue.
Can I add on?
Yeah.
I think we should build safe havens for these people. Like, sometimes when people come out and they complain that they've been raped, some people are like, it's not valid. I don't think she's telling the truth. Maybe she wanted things like that. So we should build safe havens for these people in case they've been raped. So that it's easier for them to come out and share their stories. We should even encourage the victims or survivors to speak out, because speaking out could save another person. I know sometimes it's hard, but encouraging them and telling them the benefits of, maybe I was raped by so and so. If I keep quiet, the person could still do the same thing. It could be to my sister or to a friend or to someone I don't even know, but me speaking up could save that person in the long run. Yes, I think the whole bit is we need to stop looking down on these things, because they happen every day in our society.
That's very true. So yeah.
So, yeah, just to put together what she said, like making sure that we don't judge such people, because sometimes when these things happen, for example, if a girl is a campuser and they've been seeing her maybe dressed on short things, they expect that from them, even if they expect that maybe they are hoeing around, like they're sleeping around. So even if they came out and said, okay, I was raped, everybody will be like, oh please, that couldn't have happened accidentally. They're like, no please, at least not you.
Sure.
Maybe somebody else, you get. So we should not judge such people. We should take their sides of the story instead of just listening to what everybody is saying.
Okay, that's very true. You want to say something?
Yes. I just wanted to add on what they have been saying, but also recommend some places where maybe some of the viewers could want to actually go out and seek the help. But to add on what they have said, I feel that there is a great need for us to unlearn a lot of these things, like they have mentioned. And when I come out to speak, community is going to shame me. We've seen this on platforms like Twitter or anywhere, that even in the community they will say, or no one wants to associate with a girl who says I have been raped or sexually harassed or anything. So the shame comes to the survivors or the victims. But we need to actually transfer this shame to those who, to the rapists or to those who perpetrate the violence against women and girls. And also we need to pay attention, like they have said, that if women dress to express themselves, it's not that when someone is dressed in a short thing they are saying please come rape me or please come and assault me. No. And we need to because we need to respect one another, and we need to stop objectifying women like we are about, like a woman and sex. I think maybe it's just one thing.
Like women are sex objects.
So we need to also unlearn all those things. And another thing, that usually when perpetrators of this, from what I've really been able to see, is some of these men that maybe have built a good reputation. If a girl comes out to say so and so has raped me, they'll say you're after their money. You're lying. You are. And we need to know that people have mastered the art of pretense. Understand? So let's believe. Let's investigate. Let's, don't be quick to, shut people down, because as they have said, people need to speak out. There is a lot of power in speaking out, and speaking out is not easy. It takes a lot of courage. So we need to encourage those people who take they are brave enough to come out and say this and this is happening. And we also need to check ourselves and to check those people we think are proper, or anything is possible. So we should not we should not be quick to think these girls are telling lies or anything. Let's investigate and find out what the truth is. Yeah, and then the places I would recommend, I know of okay, some of those we've been able to work with. There is safe spaces, Uganda, Chamboko. Who can maybe avail their contacts later on in at the end of the show. And there is Africa Women Incubation and Innovation Hub. They also listen and counsel girls and women that have really experienced that kind of, assault or violence that is sexual and gender-based. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I wanted to now we are going back to university. You say that you're a university student. We have had cases where university students, mostly girls, they say that they always go and sleep with lecturers, then they don't even do the coursework, they don't do anything, all because they need marks. And now after that, if the lecturer does not do what the girl wants, the girl come out and say the lecturer has assaulted me like sexually, or he has called me into at his place and used me. How is this possible? Is this true? How true is this?
Thank you, but I don't want to use the word they say, but first of all, if I'm going to sleep with a lecturer, if I've decided and said I'm going to sleep with a lecturer, it's still feeling inferior to a man, because of course I'll be like, okay, I know I can, that's how society has said I can give in the sex and I can get the marks. Because yes, it happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but as a lecturer, why doesn't he say no? Why doesn't he tell you, young daughter, please attend your lecture? Why does he have to submit and use you? And even if it's consensual and you guys have accepted to, I give you the sex and you give me the marks, but why doesn't he have to say no? Because he should be acting like a father figure to me and trying to put me on the right path. If he doesn't try to put me on the right path and also agrees to that, I don't really see that. I don't know.
Can I just say something? Thank you so much for that contribution. Just like she has said, even, taking out the fact that maybe they should act as father figures, maybe that's holding them to a greater, I don't know, and if they don't want to, that's okay, but they need to act professionally. So, professionally, if you're student, first of all, these people, the young, okay, because universities, for example, have a lot of younger people in the, adult, you're between that age. So you need to also understand as an adult, a professional, that maybe people have a lot of all these hormones. So you're not going to, you can't, be unprofessional and say after all she wanted. Have you reported? Have you said this girl is after me? But the fact that you also agree to use them is because, again, for Mr. Power Structure, you know that after all, you have the power as a lecturer. You know that this girl is going to come to you at one point needing anything. It's not even just about lecturers, even other administrators. You find that maybe to do anything like registration, yeah. So you find that one time someone is going to need your office and you're pinning them to that corner. So put aside everything, people should be professional. Can these people come out and say, there is a record, maybe I've reported so and so who was, didn't want to do her coursework and wanted to instead sleep with me. So I think we should also have, that in mind.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, whoever is watching us, remember this show has been powered by Universal Healthcare Africa, and we are talking about sexual gender-based violence happening in schools and all you communities, like everywhere. Like now we want to open it widely. When it comes to sexual gender-based violence, like you guys have said, you say the perpetrator. Why don't you people, if a lecturer attempts to vibe you or take you through the sexual stuff or take you in the road or anywhere that he wants to take you, why don't you report the lecturer to the host, or maybe to the administration for the university, and in that this lecturer is either served or is fired or anything? It goes to you, Flavia.
Well, like, we are human, we are rational. There is that time and you're in a fix. And, this lecturer will come to you, and sometimes you actually did your exams and you're sure you have passed. You have done everything. You did your coursework, you did your exam, you read for it, and he's judging you that he will not give you marks because he's really interested in you. It's you that he wants. It's not the fact that you didn't even read, but he's just interested in sleeping with you. You get? So you're like, but what is wrong? And sometimes they will not even tell you that I'm going to sleep with you. He will just tell you, I need to meet you here. We are going to talk about this. So sometimes it comes without your consent. He tells you, let's talk about it. And you meet somewhere. And in the end, he starts judging you that, okay, you're not going to get the marks because I'm going to first do this with you. You get? So that is one reason as to why sometimes you'll not come out to even say it, because it comes when you're not in the know. They just meet you somewhere. He tells you, let's meet somewhere. Your marks are missing. Okay, let's meet at a particular place and talk about it. And in the end, he starts harassing you. He starts touching you. You're like, okay, why? I thought we had come here to talk about my marks. And another why people wouldn't come out to talk about it is because, you know, okay, I might talk about it and people might judge me. You get? You're like, okay, I'm stressed, I do not have marks, but even when I come out to talk about it, I might be judged. My friends will say a lot. It might not even be hard in the administration. And these lecturers make students' life hard.
At the university.
Yes, because if maybe for coursework you come out and talk about it, he might make you fail to graduate, because he might make your marks to disappear for good, and you're like, okay, you get very scared. That is the reason as why girls do not
Guys
even
don't
come out to talk
report.
about it.
All along I thought it, yeah.
I think I should add. I think it comes back to her point, power.
Yeah.
I'm going to report the lecturer, and maybe they'll listen to me 1 day, 2 days, and they'll dismiss the case. What next after that? He's going to still be teaching me for the rest of the semester. I will still need to pass, like she said, my marks will disappear. Then I'll have to look for him. But I reported him. So you get the whole point of, I will just have to keep quiet because I need to pass. What am I going to tell my parents? That the lecturer asked me, that's why I did not pass this course unit. So the whole point is power. I'm going to report it, but then it will still backfire to me, the student. I'm not going to get my marks. I'm not going to graduate, maybe. So I think I just can't report because of the whole process of the aftermath of if they don't solve the case, or they will not fire the lecturer. Maybe he has been working for 10 years. They will tell you, but this has never happened in all the 10 years he has worked here. Yeah. Are you the first beautiful? Right. So then you actually be like, it's okay. And then after that, it will be hard for you. You will maybe start missing lectures. You won't be comfortable in his class. It's a lot that you can't report because my friends, everyone is going to look at me like, really? Are you the only beautiful one that he has asked out? So.
But there are those who give it, like willingly because they want.
Yeah, there are those who give in, but then if I didn't give in, if I don't want to.
And okay, can I say
professionalism.
We have actually, it's okay. We are not saying that there are those who don't give in willingly, but she actually explained that because we have said that people need to be professional, and you know, when you look at the point of power, we can't even begin to argue that a student gave it. What did the lecturer do? The one who is in a place of power, the one who knows the code of conduct, for example. Because I want to believe that every person, maybe for every institution, there is a code of conduct for the students and then for the staff. So why are we concentrating on this girl who has broken the code of conduct, and we are not asking why the professor is also breaking the code of conduct? It's not just one way. And why for me I put like the most responsibility on the professor is I know the power, and they have to be professional, and they do not even come out to report. I have not seen people said she wanted me, and I have there is no record. They just keep taking them on. I was going to just steal what they've been saying, and I have seen one parent came out to say recently on Twitter that she was paying for her younger sister at the university, and she used to complain, like, you open and say the lecturer is asking me, and she never believed. The elder sister didn't believe the younger sister, said, but your marks are missing, but you have the text. And now, until recently, when most people now came to, and she says that by those girls does know this whole information, like she could not actually believe that. So it's until recently that she actually knows that these strange stories are true. She's a bit older, so I really get what. Now she was regretting and saying that I wish I had listened. You get, and so for me that takes me to the point of sensitization. We need to sensitize communities where these parents stay. We need to educate people on sexual and gender-based violence, both students and the lecturers and other staff members and other men and women in positions of power. We need to also teach people to know that in sensitization, I think for me the important messages to pass across, because people are tables turn, and also when you affect someone's future, damage someone psychologically, like Patience noted that some of these things are it's a lifetime damage. You are damaging the future of the entire nation. You understand? You do not know what she was going to grow up and become. So if we want a better Uganda, it begins with what we do in our small environments where we can influence. If I can influence in this university, if I can influence in this organization, if I can influence in this village, what is my influence? What is my contribution? Is it to use my power to suppress people who I am supposed to work and build with, then to eventually make a better nation? You understand? Because if I am a teacher, for example, that like long-time teachers were really very, it was like a prestigious, profession, and this whole. If you have nurtured all these people, and none of them has a terrible record of you, like rape, sexual assault, and what, the pride, the fulfillment, looking at people successful and knowing I contributed to this. You understand? Yeah. But aside the goodwill, depending on the goodwill of people, we need to have proper policies and strong laws in place and structures that enable the laws and the policies to function, that people can be brought to book and justice can be served.
Okay, thank you so much. Whoever is watching us, remember this show has been powered by Universal Health Care Africa, and we are here. We are discussing about sexual gender-based violence happening in communities, universities, and also other places of work. Like ladies are telling you, like lecturers are taking advantage of girls and women in universities. Like they have said, you want to say something, but now like they have said that lecturers are taking advantage of girls. And we have had cases where they say that girl dresses bad, like you talked about it. And does it mean that if a girl dresses bad, like mostly us boys sometimes we look at the girls, then you're like, why did she have to dress that way? And does it mean that if a girl dresses bad, she calls for boys to follow them or any man to follow her? To you, Flavia.
Thank you. Not necessarily, because I have a right to dress the way I want. I do not dress to impress the nation or to attract or to send a certain message. I have my wardrobe and I dress the way I want. I mean, okay, sometimes you're not actually very indecent. I'll say not very, but because you can wear your dress, men, they have issues with themselves.
Are you sure?
Sometimes. Sometimes, even when somebody is decent, I mean, some people, God created them very well. They have those nice figures. And somebody will just wear their body hugging very long enough. But because it's showing their structure, men will still be like, that is indecent. Like, she's showing us how she grew, and men think it's a bad message, or you're trying to send a message like, okay,
follow me up.
Exactly. But it's not like people dress up to send a certain message. Not
Sure.
really. Not at all.
Can I say something? Just to add on what Flavia Patience was saying, your question really points us to the norms, and you know, gender and sexual violence
Of the
is
culture.
yeah, it's something about tradition and that issue of dress code. Also, men dress indecently, but no one wants to talk about it. I do not know why indecence. When someone says someone is indecent, all you think of is a woman. And I also want you to look at even those countries, or maybe some religions, for example, like our sisters who are Muslim, they really cover up, they veil. But that doesn't stop a man from raping if they want to rape you, or if they want to assault you. You understand? If they want to hit on you, they are going to do that. So it has, for me, it's really, like she said, men have issues with themselves. And these issues actually, it's because they know that, yes, they are in a system that enables them to do what they can do. They know that they cannot be successfully held accountable. Because if I am a successful man with my money, with my reputation, with everyone knows me in this city, and a young girl, like Rebecca says her, that man almost raped me. No one will be like, if Rebecca wants money, someone is paying Rebecca to, tarnish my name. And it can easily be believed. So people have understood that they are in a system and that they are powerful, and that, so we need to address these things, to understand that that there's a power imbalances that help people to, especially men, for me, that help men to abuse women and sexually. So unless we really unlearn that, we are going to keep at this. So I really want to call upon all the men and all the boys and all the parents, because it also goes back to parenthood. Can you raise your sons to see women for so many other things, and not sex, and not their bodies, and not what they look like? Because it begins with how we are nurturing people. So parents have a very big role to play as other stakeholders, like you already mentioned. And we also, in our schools, can people be taught these things from a young age? Like, you don't just respect a girl because she's a girl. Can we relate to one another as humans? Really know that I am less because of my gender. I'm a lesser human. That's a problem for me, and that is why we have all these issues in society. And it is, we are here to create awareness and to call upon everyone who can do something to be able to do the right thing. Yes.
But this comment don't only come, yes.
Let me add on what Shaz said. I think it comes back to self-control. Because I'm putting on something short, that doesn't guarantee you to come and make advances to me or assault me. I'm putting it on for myself. Maybe I feel like I want to look sexy, I'll put on a body hugging. It may not be short, but like she said, it brings out my body. That doesn't give you a right to do anything to me. Have self-control. Let's nurture our men. Because I'm a woman, I'm going to give birth to a son. If I don't groom him to be a man, a responsible man, then he will do something to someone, but I'll also give birth to a daughter. And another man will do the same thing to my daughter. Even if it's you, if you're a man, why don't you tell yourself, I'm going to do this to this one, but tomorrow I'll have a daughter, or I have a sister. And another man will do the same thing. And he will give me the reason of she was indecent. Will I be happy with that? So indecency, I don't think it should be a factor for telling society that, she was raped because she's always indecent. Men are indecent too, like she said. You also put on those tight pants and you can't breathe, and maybe your area is showing. why haven't you had that, I raped him because he was too sexual for me, or he was too indecent? Like, yes, it happens, but it's rare. If I see you, I respect you, you put that on, that's what makes you feel comfortable. I have to have self-control.
Sure. Now, I want us now to jump into you guys have moved into the markets area and border stages. Yeah, like this is like, if you're watching us live on YouTube, on Facebook, just know that you're watching a show that's being powered by Universal Healthcare Africa, and we're here discussing about sexual-based violence. Now you're jumping into the community where men look at women like something that they can play with. Because I've seen people who pull women's hands when it comes to markets, border stage. They whistle at her, and if even if when she doesn't feel like even responding, like she feel like this person has really attacked her. Like, what's your take up on this when it comes to the way guys pull women in markets when it comes to you?
Grooming, like she said, we have to bring up our men as respectable men. Because if it's your mother and they're pulling her, would it make you happy? No. So why would you pull someone else's daughter? And you know, sometimes when they have this thing of they call you, they hiss at you, they howl insults, and then when you don't tell them, like, you're not even beautiful. But you know, in the first place, why did you call me? Yeah, let's have self-control. Let a woman pass. A woman, by the way, it's not even about indecency. I'll be putting on a legging, and then someone will look at you, then they'll howl insults. But does it really make sense? Okay, my question is, after having that insult, then what?
You see, the reason they actually have the insults is they know that they are going to put you in a state. The next time someone hisses at you, or the next time a man makes the advance, you should be able to respond. You see the reason society critiques women a lot is because they know that they will make them submissive, or they will make them subjective to what they want. You understand? So it's I guess for me it is still a power technique. Like it is something that they use to bully women, and they have actually succeeded. And so it's a lot of, because if you're going to pass somewhere, like, you know, along a certain path every day, and someone keeps abusing you, you're not even beautiful, you know, it's going to affect you. It can even ruin your entire day. You understand? And I know they know it, so they will try to do that to soften you, so that, you know, next time you should, yeah, they affect your esteem. Yes. So what we need to do is, for me, it goes back to the point of unlearning. We need to unlearn, because people say, for example, I know my rights, yeah, but trust me, if I'm in the market downtown, I will not even tell those guys that it's money my rights. They don't work because they do not know. But that is because we have not taught these people from when they were young. And also, people, I think this is something that can be understood at every level. But you find that even in a corporate environment, the act is going to be the same, but in a different way. So in a corporate environment, the man is going to make the advances, or to sexually violate you, but in a way that is not as
Covered.
Not as, can I say, I don't need to say not as rude as now the people downtown. You understand? Because these people are maybe in different classes of society and all. So it should go back to how we groom these people. You understand? To know that whatever you do, in any way that you do it, that act, as long as it is unwanted, and you know you're forcing your way into someone sexually, you know you're affecting their dignity, you're abusing their human rights, you're not helping them, you know you're affecting who they are, and it is criminal. So we should be able to teach people, so that at whatever level or wherever you are, or whatever you're doing, whatever age, you do not have any right, you do not have this thing of entitlement to violate women and girls.
Yes,
Okay, just to add on it, I feel like, okay, some people, that is going to be very helpful in this generation, like people who are still kids. But there are these people who are already big enough, and they cannot go back to be groomed. They cannot go back to their parents' houses to be groomed. Yes, I believe that what can be done, I encourage human rights and the government to come up and do much more on sensitization, put this thing on media, TV and radio, so that they can know. Because some people do it without knowing that they affect someone, you know. They will just do it when they're illiterate. Like, you'll find a boda guy who did not go to school, and because it's the culture, it's the own thing, they will just hiss at you, and they don't know that they're affecting you in a particular way. Because for them, they don't know that it's traumatizing you, but they'll do it. So I think, and I encourage government and other institutions to
to invest also in this sector, to sensitize and try to tell the people, the world, that it's not good. Like, it affects someone. Even if you're doing it for fun, somebody is being affected.
Yeah. Then, like, if now let us jump into hunting for jobs. Very many guys, because I've had very many discussions where even some of my colleagues tell me there are those bosses where you go to their office and they have a side bedroom somewhere where they sit and they can take you inside. They have even a bed inside there. So if you come looking for a job and you're a girl, they'll first of all tell you, donate, like, you have sex with this person. How true is this? Like, if you guys have ever had these stories, if you have been a victim before, take us through about that when it comes to that.
This is very sad, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't even want to, joke about it because I'm done with my university. We finished a few days ago. But when we're almost finishing, I was introduced to someone. So I asked him for the job, and instead of asking me for a CV like any other person, CV documents, he's like, send me sexy pictures of yourself. So I looked, and I'm like, I actually told a friend, I was like, why would he want my sexy pictures? It is a job. And my friend also asked me, why do you have to send pictures initially? Why don't I have to meet you? Yes, it was not like I met you in an office and asked you for a job, but still I'm still asking for a job. Why would you have to tell me to send pictures of myself, most of the sexy ones? So until he kept calling, that we had a meeting, and I refused to pick up. So people are saying that there are offices, and then there's the back place, and even if the back place isn't there, he will tell you, if you need a job, you have to meet me here at this hotel, and if you don't sleep with me, then I'm not going to. Some people ask you to be their mistresses, like you have to do it over and over. Even if I'm already at the job place, my boss could tell me, you need a promotion or you need raising pay, you have to do this in order for this to happen. Or they will cut my salary. Yes, they will cut my salary. I will come, we made an agreement, I'm going to be paying you 500, and then after the boss makes advances and I refuse, he starts giving me 400. So what would be the reason for me to tell maybe a colleague, they're now paying me 400 because of this? At the workplace, it's really scary to me, because it has happened to me before I even reached there, and I ask myself, how am I going to get a job if the first person I've met is talking to me like this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I add something to? I wanted to add a second. Then, I think that also, because what she said is, again, for me, it's a point of power, and now, right now there's an argument of equality. You understand? Because we are promoting equality, and then they will say, after all, you are working, and sometimes you also have like duties in your home, because you're working, you're not going to, not provide, and depend on the other partner. So imagine those are the pressures. You have to give in to the boss to either maintain or get a promotion or do something, and the boss knows that you actually need this. So now I hope that in this discussion we can get all these main factors that lead women to keep subordinate despite the level of education, because she went to school. It's not like she came from now and she's saying please, and then you're saying girls are not educated and so you want a job. No, you went to school, but you can still see the experience. So, and also the point of news, where people ask for maybe sexy pictures, it is also to compromise dignity. If someone else would not have been as, can I say, intelligent or as wise, she did not send the pictures, but someone else is going to send the pictures and say they haven't asked me for sex, it is just my pictures and I want the job. So when you send those sexy pictures, in future, if you're not able to do another thing, they're going to leak those. We say they have leaked, but someone does it because they understand how much that is going to affect you emotionally, your dignity. No one wants to associate with people whose pictures you get, because you do not understand those background stories. It is an issue of power. And for me, unless we address the power imbalances, or call upon men, or create, structures, it's about rebuilding. Yeah.
So there are those who abuse themselves like privately. What this one?
But well, this is a very different scenario. We are talking about I'm going to work and you need my
Wow.
sexy pictures.
Somebody asked for a sex picture.
But even the boyfriends, by the way, it is still sexual and gender-based violence. Do you know why? They also ask for the pictures because, men, men, like you're told to be good enough for your man. If you do not send the pictures, apparently he's going to cheat on you. You understand? So people do it for all sorts of insecurity.
Yeah.
And then when someone wants to compromise you, and relationships, even if you've done nothing wrong, someone wakes up and they're tired.
Yeah.
And I have to move on, and I have to hurt you. Some people do not have the maturity to know that I can break up with you, and it is okay, live your life and live my life. Some people are going to they want to come back and haunt you. So if you send a picture of yourself to keep your man to be good enough, he doesn't have to look around, that is what is going to happen. What about if we told girls, if we empowered people, you understand, to know that you don't have to do anything for a man to like you. You don't have to go to those extremes to compromise yourself. You understand? People lack information, and I feel it is our duty, you understand, to sensitize and to empower girls and women, because they do it because it is what they have been constructed into. You grow up being told to be good enough for a man, and being good enough is not even defined. So that's why people go the extremes of I will do anything to keep this boy, but as I've said, I will wake up and one day I'm tired and then I have to go. So power.
Take out the role when it comes to girls who share their pictures with their boyfriends, and then let's just say boys get to press the next button to maybe get someone else, and then this girl come out and say this boy shared my pictures, I didn't consent. But sometimes they're the ones who send them, they're the ones who send them to a private conversation, and this guy get there. Like, how true is this? Like, girls sometimes, there are those who share pictures like they want to be talked about. We have had that instances. Somebody says like, I didn't reason the picture, she didn't picture herself, not me. There are even girls who say who may want to leave the boy and do all this. That's a two-way.
Okay, that's now another whole topic. We're on gender-based sexual gender-based violence. That's another whole topic. I think that's another whole topic. But if I've sent you my pictures, maybe we're in a relationship, if you didn't ask for them, as a responsible man, why would you send them? Delete them.
But also, let's assume that what you're saying, they have been sent. But do you think that any man is going to come out and say, yeah, I leaked this? Everyone is going
Of
to
course.
deny. You understand? So you can't say that because someone has denied, I didn't send your nudes. No one wants to be seen as a terrible person who leaks people's nudes. It's and I have I saw in one of our neighboring countries where girls were actually thinking of putting things on and handcuff and all those things because their needs had leaked and stuff. And I understand that people are mature and all, but why are you leaving the men out of this? Like the entire burden is on one gender. What about those who actually like what were the purpose of releasing the pictures, and why are you after the girls? Are you solving the problem by only looking